Chapter 131 It's like I'm proposing to you. Song Yunfei felt a pang of sadness in her heart as she listened, and suddenly realized that sometimes knowing the ending in advance is not necessarily a good thing. Like Chu Jinan, even if you don't know, at least you can have a wonderful time without any distractions. She took a deep breath and held back her tears. She pushed the man away and forced a smile. Don't be like this. I didn't know you were thinking so much. I promise you, okay. Chu Jinan was taken aback, and a hint of nervousness flashed in his eyes. Which one did you promise? We're both so busy right now, but I've promised we'll get our marriage certificate after the new year. After he finished speaking, Chu Jinan did not respond. He just stared at Song Yunfei, as if he hadn't understood what she said, or perhaps he was lost in thought. After a long pause, he managed to squeeze out two words, really. Song Yunfei blinked, her face full of sincerity, really. What, you don't want to? If you don't want to, then forget it. Before she could finish speaking, he interrupted her, I do. Song Yunfei found it somewhat amusing. How strange, it feels like I'm proposing. If you want, that's fine too. Song Yunfei nudged him, dream on. Chu Jinan grabbed her hand, and a smile suddenly appeared on his lips. Although it was very faint, it still left Song Yunfei stunned. This time he could see much more clearly than last time. At such close range, the setting sun outside the window had not yet completely set, and its rays slanted in, falling entirely on his face. For the first time, Song Yunfei realized that his eyes were so bright and so beautiful. Then it settled. You can't go back on your word. Song Yunfei smiled and said, I definitely won't go back on my word. If he hadn't gone back on his word back then, Song Yunfei could only say these words to herself. Alright, hurry up and cook, chef, I'm starving. Good. Song Yunfei dared not stay in the kitchen any longer and quickly left. 20 minutes later, Chu Jinan had the meal ready. Song Yunfei sat on the sofa, examining the package on top, which contained quite a few clothes. The clothes were all brightly colored and all women's clothing. Most importantly, they were all packaged in red plastic bags. They look brand new, but because they're packed in these plastic bags, they look like they were found lying around. What are these clothes for? Chu Jinan placed the dishes on the table, glanced back, and said, the client went bankrupt, so I took a few items back as payment. Is there anything you like? So that's how it is. Song Yunfei took out all the clothes. There were many coats, but most of them were spring and summer styles, with only one or two winter coats. It looks alright. I don't really like the style, but it's wearable. That's good, this way we can save money on clothes. You only took some for me, didn't you take any for yourself? I'm dressed warmly enough. Song Yunfei sighed, this is the difference between the two of them. She has 3 times as many clothes as Chu Jinan, but she still feels like she has nothing to wear every day. Stop looking, come and eat first. Oh. Song Yunfei jogged over to the table and sat down. The meal was very plentiful. This man's menu was getting more and more extensive. Song Yunfei was actually happy today because she also sold a house. It was almost the end of the month, and she thought that was it for the month, but unexpectedly, she sold another set. With 2 apartments rented out, next month's salary should be pretty good. After dinner, when they went down to walk the dog, Chu Jinan took her to see something else. It's a Volkswagen. You bought a car. Chu Jinan shook his head. No, it's a customer's payment for goods. Mister, he asked me to take it and open it. Song Yunfei was stunned. Was this another way to offset payment for goods? The new model of this car costs 150,000 to 160,000 yuan, but after a few years, it's worth at most 60,000 to 70,000 yuan. But she was also happy, since it's cold now and riding an electric scooter is chilly. It's good enough to have a car to ride in. Song Yunfei grabbed his arm and said, great. Now that we have a car, we can go out and have fun. I happen to have a couple of days off, where would you like to go? Song Yunfei stroked her chin. Well, I'll check when I get home tonight. I can't remember right now. Song Yunfei is already starting to think about where to go for fun. She only has 2 days, so she can't go too far. She simply took out her phone and searched for fun things to do nearby. Chu Jinan walked beside Quan Quan, holding her hand. As they left the residential area, he seemed to sense something and looked in a certain direction. The moment he looked over, the head that had peeked out from behind the tree in the distance immediately disappeared. What are you looking at? Song Yunfei asked. Chu Jinan looked away, took Quan Quan's hand, and followed. It's nothing. The person standing behind the tree, wearing sunglasses and a mask, patted his chest and said, You probably didn't recognize me, did you? Where did you learn such clumsy tracking techniques? A mocking voice came from behind, startling Xiao Jian so much that he turned around abruptly. Seeing that it was Bai Yu, she breathed a sigh of relief. You scared me to death. Aren't you at work? What are you doing here? Bai Yu glanced at the 2 people in front of her, same as you. Are you here to stalk too? Bai Yu glanced at her and couldn't help but laugh. Are you dressed like this because you're afraid no one will recognize you? None of your business. Xiao Jian seemed to realize something. Wait a minute, why are you following him? Who sent you? Who sent me? Bai Yu's lips curled up. None of your business. You. Xiao Jian took a deep breath, silently chanted, Peace of mind, pulled down her mask, and revealed a smile. Since we share a common goal, and we're allies now, can we exchange some information? Bai Yu scoffed, Do you even need to exchange that little bit of information you have? You really are. Bai Yu noticed that her legs seemed to be about to lift up again. But in the end, I held back. Bai Yu asked, Are you worried about how to prevent him from meeting Wei Ke? Xiao Jian was taken aback. You too. Bai Yu gazed at the 2 figures who were almost out of sight ahead and sighed softly. Wei Ke is Chu Jinan's assistant and his most trusted person. The 2 practically grew up together. After investigating for more than half a year, Wei Ke finally found his way to Qingcheng. It seems that things there can't be delayed any longer. Bai Yu suddenly looked at Xiao Jian. How about you go and unleash your charm? Xiao Jian glared at him. You mean you want me to seduce him? Don't put it so harshly, this is called a honey trap. Screw your honey trap, why don't you go for it yourself? If I could do it myself, would I need you? But unfortunately, she doesn't like men. While the 2 were bickering, the other 2 had already disappeared. As Song Yunfei walked, she felt a coolness on her face. She suddenly looked up and saw tiny white specks fluttering under the street lights. Song Yunfei looked on with delight and turned to Chu Jinan. Has it snowed? Chapter 132 Chu Jinan, look at the camera. Chu Jinan also looked up, stretched out his hand, and the fine white snow fell into his palm, melting instantly. Yes, it's snowing. Song Yunfei also reached out to catch it, but it melted immediately upon landing in her palm. The snow was so light, like a drizzle, that you couldn't even tell it was snowing unless you looked closely. Song Yunfei, who had never seen snow before, was overjoyed. It's so beautiful. Song Yunfei tilted her head back and spun around in place, trying to find an angle from which she could see more of the snow. In the end, I found that the snow falling under the streetlights was clearer. She took out her phone and started filming a video of the streetlight. Chu Jinan stood half a step away from her, quietly watching her, his gaze following the vivid and lively figure in the faint snow light. Watching the snowflakes fall on her hair and shoulders, the snowflakes that landed on her eyelashes quickly melted, turning into glistening water droplets. She held her phone high, switched to the front-facing camera, and captured Chu Jinan in the shot behind her. Chu Jinan, look at the camera. Chu Jinan's gaze shifted from her face to the phone screen, looking at the face on the screen. Song Yunfei nodded in satisfaction, this is a record of the first snowfall we witnessed together. She made a peace sign with her fingers. You are going to do something. Song Yunfei stepped back to his side, took his hand, or rather, pulled up two of his fingers. Stay here, don't move. Chu Jinan was forced to make a V sign in front of his chest, and he looked very uncomfortable. His forced expression was even more obvious in the video. Song Yunfei ignored him and raised two fingers, joining them with his scissor hand gesture. Coincidentally, the bracelets on their wrists also came together. After fiddling around for a while, I took several videos and a lot of photos. Seeing her flushed cheeks and red, frozen fingers, Chu Jinan asked, "Are you cold?" Song Yunfei shook her head quickly. She was so excited that she didn't feel cold. Noticing that he was about to take off his coat, Song Yunfei pressed his hand down. "Don't take it off, or you'll catch a cold, and then I'll have to take care of you." Chu Jinan paused for a moment, but still unzipped his coat, stepped forward, and wrapped her inside. Song Yunfei was taken aback when a warm feeling, carrying the scent of lavender laundry detergent, instantly enveloped her. She held up her phone and turned to look at him. Chu Jinan looked down at her. "It's cold outside. Let's go back. We can still watch it when we get back." Fine snow fell silently into the night, forming a hazy halo around the dim streetlights. Song Yunfei nodded slightly. "Okay." The two turned around and walked back the way they came. The shadows stretched long and short by the streetlights, and Quan Quan followed behind on her four short legs, hopping and skipping towards their shadows. Once inside, Song Yunfei took off her damp coat and went into the bedroom. I squatted in front of the bay window in the bedroom, looking at the barely noticeable snow outside. She had been wanting to see a heavy snowfall, but after half a day of snowfall, it was still so light. A glass of water was handed to her, and Song Yunfei subconsciously looked in the direction of the arm holding the water. "Thank you," she smiled, took the water, and the warmth from the cup dispelled the chill from her fingers. Chu Jinan stood beside her, looking out the window. Her face was reflected in the window. Unfortunately, the snowfall didn't get heavy, and it even started to lighten, with not a single snowflake visible. The ground was wet, and it looked like it had just rained. I guess many people don't know that it had just snowed. Her fantasy of building a snowman tomorrow was shattered, and she could only regretfully go take a shower. Back in bed, ready to sleep, Chu Jinan suddenly handed him his phone. "How about we go here tomorrow?" Song Yunfei rested her head on his shoulder and looked at the screen. This seems to be a small town, a tourist attraction, but not very famous. It's not far away, about a 5-hour drive. But it started snowing here 10 days ago. Song Yunfei nodded happily. Okay, let's go build a snowman. Then I'll book the hotel first." "Well, I'll do it. You have all your money with me." Song Yunfei pressed down on his phone and took out her own phone to book a hotel. Chu Jinan didn't argue with her. While Song Yunfei was struggling to choose which hotel to go to, Chu Jinan's phone rang. He picked it up and glanced at it. "It's Mr. He's called. I'll go answer it." Song Yunfei didn't even look up, continuing to look through the hotel listings. "Go ahead." Chu Jinan went outside and answered the phone. "Mr. He, what's the matter so late?" "It's okay, don't worry, I won't ask you to work overtime." "Mr. He hesitated for a moment. "I just received a call asking if I knew you. They asked me a lot of questions about you and found it a bit strange, so I thought I'd let you know." "Who is it?" "Mr. He didn't say." Chu Jinan was silent for a moment, then asked, "What did you say to him?" "Mr. He laughed and said, 'What else can I say? I'll definitely praise you for being capable.'" Chu Jinan sighed. "What I mean is, what did you say?" "Oh, you little rascal, you can't even speak clearly." Mr. He briefly explained to him that he had received a call from a stranger asking if Chu Jinan worked at his factory. They asked when he went there, who else was with him, basically like they were checking his household registration. That's why Mr. He called him to let him know. It's fine if they're customers, but I'm afraid they might be enemies. Liu Moke hasn't been dealt with yet, and now another one has come along. He's really starting to feel overwhelmed. Chu Jinan remained silent, lost in thought. In recent days, he has gradually recalled some fragments, but they are still very blurry and too scattered to be pieced together into a complete memory. So he deliberately ignored it. If you deliberately try to find some useful information from these fragments, you can actually do so. For example, he should have parents. He must have had a pretty good job. Many of those memories are filled with flattering faces. Mr. His voice came again. You haven't offended anyone lately, have you? Ever since he was sent to collect payment, Mr. He has been living in constant fear and even has some regrets. He went and called the customer's customer, asking the customer's customer for money, and then said that the customer who owed the money had asked him to collect it. If it's a physical store, find someone to bring you a payment QR code and a bunch of evidence, and stake out their store. When customers come, tell them that you're there to collect a debt and ask them to scan the factory's payment QR code. Of course, these underhanded tactics are only aimed at clients with whom there is little to no cooperation. If the other party files a lawsuit, that's perfect, we'll save on the cost of going to court. Anyway, after all the harassment, most of the customers couldn't stand it anymore. But don't even think about cooperating again in the future. Chu Jinan asked, No, what else did that person say? For example, where was he? What did he do? Chapter 133 Like an old man. That wasn't mentioned either, Mr. He said, Alright, since you haven't offended anyone, then it's fine. It must be a client. Chu Jinan hung up the phone and fell into deep thought. Song Yanfei came out of the house and came to his side. What do you think of this hotel I booked? Chu Jinan snapped out of his reverie, glanced at it casually, and nodded slightly. Yes, that's fine. Song Yanfei pursed her lips, decided not to ask him any more questions, and turned back. The next day, Song Yanfei got up very early. The first thing she did after getting out of bed was to draw back the curtains to see if it had snowed last night. I glanced at it, then drew the curtains. The sun was shining outside. Who would want snow? Since we're going on a long trip, we can't take Quan Quan with us, so we'll have to send her to a pet store for boarding. After quickly packing up, the two set off. This is the first time I've gone out to play since I arrived. We set off at 7 o'clock and arrived at our destination at 12 o'clock. It was indeed snowing here. As soon as I got out of the car, everything was white, as if the whole world had turned white. Song Yanfei scooped up a handful of snow from the ground and tossed it into the air, where it traced a shimmering arc. This is so much fun. Let's check in first, we can play later. Chu Jinan pulled her towards the guest house ahead. This is a guest house converted from an old house, like a traditional courtyard house. Snow has accumulated in the courtyard, and a few winter plum trees are blooming in the corner. Song Yanfei was very satisfied. It was indeed a guest house she had carefully selected, and the environment was excellent. Perhaps because it's not yet the holiday season, there aren't many tourists, and the guest houses don't have many guests either. After putting her things away, she couldn't wait to run out. This town is quite small, with only 4 streets in total, which can be explored in an afternoon. But the scenery outside the town is also beautiful. There is an asphalt road behind it, and the trees on both sides are covered with snowflakes, which sparkle in the sunlight. Hurry up and help me, never mind. Song Yanfei remembered his photography skills and instantly lost the desire to have him take her picture. Chu Jinan was quick to respond and had already taken out his phone, saying, I'll take the picture for you. No, your photos are terrible. I can record a video, and you can choose the scene you like. Song Yanfei thought about it for a moment and thought it was feasible. Okay, I'll give you a chance. She walked to a tree and raised her hand to make a peace sign. He squatted in the middle of the road and made two peace signs. I wanted to climb the tree and make a peace sign, but someone pulled me down. It's too dangerous, no way. Song Yunfei glared at him resentfully, then raised her hand and pointed to the tree branch beside her, which was not yet up to her chest. She measured back and forth, asking, "Where is the danger?" Chu Jinan said with a hint of helplessness, "It's too slippery." He was very determined. Song Yunfei couldn't persuade him and tried to force her way up, but he would grab her clothes and tear her down. Okay, it's him after all. Once he's made up his mind, nothing I say will change it. Song Yunfei gave up. All right, I'm not climbing anymore, let's go build a snowman. I've never built a big snowman in my life. I remember it snowing once when I was very young. But it wasn't very big. She spent half a day collecting snow around the house before she could barely build a snowman that was about the height of a chopstick. Her dream is to build a snowman as tall as herself. She hadn't expected the snow in the woods to be so thick. As soon as she got buried in it, she slipped and fell flat on her face. He plunged headfirst into the snow, and since he was wearing a white down jacket and a white fluffy hat, he was so flat that you couldn't see him unless you looked closely. Chu Jinan quickly stepped forward and pulled her out of the snow. "Yunfei, are you all right?" However, the next moment, a snowball came flying right at him. Ha ha ha. He paused for a moment, then looked down. The snowball exploded on his chest, leaving a conspicuous mark on his black down jacket. He looked up again at the culprit, who had just been pulled out of the snowdrift and was now laughing so hard he was doubled over. Song Yunfei's face, hair, and hat were covered in snow, and the tip of her nose was red from the cold. I wasn't going to laugh, but a small pinch of snow splashed onto someone else. His stunned expression was absolutely hilarious. Chu Jinan looked at her face, which was laughing freely and unrestrainedly in the sunlight. After a moment of distraction, all that remained was helplessness. He raised his hand and brushed the snow off her. "Weren't we going to build a snowman? Oh, I almost forgot." Seeing his expression, Song Yunfei gave up on the idea of having a snowball fight with him. She's only 28 or 29, but she acts like an old person. Next, Song Yunfei ran around happily in the snow, gathering herself into a ball here and there. Finally, he pushed the snowball toward the roadside, moving slowly because the snow was too deep and he walked with great difficulty, stumbling and staggering. Like a dung beetle rolling a snowball in the snow. Chu Jinan is usually very serious, but even now, seeing Song Yunfei pushing a snowball, he had to tense his jawline to maintain his composure. He silently took photos with his phone. Song Yunfei was completely unaware of this, and she finally managed to roll the snowball, which was half her height, to the side of the road. Supporting the snowball, panting, she looked at Chu Jinan with a hint of pride. "How is it? Big or not?" Chu Jinan nodded. "Yes, it's big." Receiving affirmation fueled Song Yunfei's fighting spirit, and she turned back to collect other materials. By the time they rolled the second snowball, Song Yunfei was already exhausted. She said to Chu Jinan, who was still recording a video, "Stop filming and come help me." Chu Jinan didn't turn off the recording, but put his phone in his pocket. Help her pick up the second snowball and place it on top of the first snowball. The two of them were building snowballs together. Song Yunfei was too tired to move, so she simply stood by and directed him. No, the head needs to be smaller, don't make it so big. It's crooked, turn it a little this way. This is stuck here, this is pressed here, and the nose is crooked. 2 hours later, a snowman almost as tall as her was finally completed. Song Yunfei even took off her hat and put it on the snowman's head. She originally wanted to build 2, but this one had already exhausted all her strength, so she had to give up on the second one. Quick, Take a picture of me. Chu Jinan took out his phone, stepped back a bit, and took a picture of her in the snowman in the frame. His phone was recording video the whole time, and with the low temperature, the battery was almost empty. Have you had enough fun? Have you forgotten that you haven't eaten lunch yet? He returned to Song Yun-fai's side, took off the snowman's hat, and put it back on Song Yun-fai's head. Song Yun-fai looked at the snowman with some reluctance. It was something she had worked so hard to build. Come over here, let's take a picture together. This is something we built together. Chu Jinan walked up to her and was once again forced to make a peace sign. He took Song Yun-fai's phone, adjusted the angle, and took a picture of the two of them in the snowman behind them. A snowman, sunshine, smiles, and two people standing side by side are frozen in the frame. Is chapter 134 a proper late-night snack? Song Yun-fai took many more photos before reluctantly returning to the town. The two randomly picked a restaurant to eat at, and as expected, the food was just average, regardless of the size of the tourist attraction. However, considering that it wasn't expensive, Song Yun-fai didn't mind. Chu Jinan took out his phone to pay. But after glancing at it, he silently put it down again. It's out of power. Let me pay, didn't you charge it last night? Song Yun-fai took out her phone and paid. Chu Jinan, I was filming a video and the battery ran out. Song Yun-fai asked in surprise, how long have you been filming? More than 2 hours. Song Yun-fai was stunned. It had been more than 2 hours. How long will it take her to choose photos? In the afternoon, the two strolled around the town again, but there wasn't much to do. The buildings looked rather retro, so they took a few photos and went back. Chu Jinan sent her the video, and she lay down on the bed to watch it. If I see a decent looking image, I take a screenshot, then edit it later, and it's not a big problem. Chu Jinan was sitting next to her, holding his phone and doing something. Every now and then you could hear her complaining, this angle would be better, or, why is this so ugly? I can't find a good one, and so on. If she sees someone who is particularly ugly, she will even raise her hand and punch them. The 2-hour-plus video made her dizzy and lightheaded. Chu Jinan didn't hear any movement for a long time, and when he turned around, he found that she had fallen asleep. One hand held the phone, while the other arm was casually draped over the pillow. Because he was lying face down on the pillow, his mouth looked a little crooked, and you could see the white of his eye through the slit of one eye. Chu Jinan opened the camera and took a picture. I woke up in the middle of the night. I woke up hungry because I hadn't eaten dinner. Her memory was still of choosing photos when she opened her eyes to find the room completely dark. Feeling the warmth of the embrace, the unease brought by the darkness quickly dissipated. She hugged the man beside her, buried her head deeper into his chest, and prepared to continue sleeping. It's normal to feel hungry in the middle of the night, just bear with it and the hunger will pass. Are you hungry? Song Yun-fai was surprised to hear Chu Jinan's voice suddenly coming from above. You're not asleep. Woke up. You woke up hungry too. In the darkness, he seemed to move down, his breath brushing against Song Yun-fai's face. Yes, I woke up hungry. His voice was soft, yet it carried an indescribable tenderness, and as he spoke, their lips met. It didn't seem like he was really hungry when he said he was hungry. Before Song Yun-fai could even speak, he had already captured her lips in his mouth. After a brief, light kiss, she heard him continue, want some late-night snacks. Song Yun-fai was still a little dazed, but she still asked cautiously, is it a proper late-night snack? Do you want something proper, or something inappropriate? Quote. Of course it's serious. A few minutes. The two, dressed neatly, left the guest house. It's 2 a.m., and most shops are closed. The two huddled together, walking through the snowy night. After searching for a long time, they found only a barbecue restaurant that was still open, but it looked like it would be closing soon. I managed to get into the store at the last minute, and to avoid delaying the owner from closing time, I packed some food to take home and ate it. The two sat at the table. After eating 2 skewers, Song Yunfei looked up in surprise. This was the first time she had ever seen someone eat barbecue without directly biting into the skewers, but instead shoveling the whole thing into a bowl to eat. He didn't eat meat, it was all vegetables. Is this how you eat it? Chu Jinan looked up at her and asked, "What's wrong?" Song Yunfei could only give him a thumbs up, so elegant. Chu Jinan couldn't tell whether she was praising him or being sarcastic. "Can't we eat it like this?" "No, I can, never mind, let's eat." Song Yunfei sighed. Sitting with him always felt like a wild boar rooting for cabbage. Yes, she is a wild boar. If it weren't for sheer luck, she would never have had the chance to sit down and eat barbecue with someone like that in her entire life. 2 days flew by. I went to bed late and didn't wake up until 11 a.m. on the second day. After having a meal, it was time to head back. Before leaving, Song Yunfei took one last look at the snowman they had built. It stood there obediently, covered in more snow. Looking at that snowman, it can be said that her dream of building a snowman has come true. Seeing her reluctance to leave, Chu Jinan said, "Let's go, we can come again next week when we have a holiday." Song Yunfei turned her head and glanced at him. "One visit is enough, there's really nothing fun about it." She turned around and walked towards the parking area, sighing, "I've never built a snowman before, and I've always wanted to, but now that I've done it, it doesn't seem like anything special." "That means you don't really like it." Song Yunfei paused. "What do you mean?" Chu Jinan also stopped and looked at her. True love is about still cherishing something after you get it. It's like when you love money. You don't think it's nothing special just because you have it. You only feel that it's not enough. Song Yunfei stared blankly at him. In the dim sunlight, it seemed as if his entire outline was coated with a pale golden halo. After a long while, Song Yunfei nodded with great certainty. "That makes perfect sense. This analogy makes things much clearer." A slight stirring occurred to her heart. She tilted her head and asked with a smile, "So, do you have a favorite thing? Is it also money?" Chu Jinan paused, his gaze lingering on her face for 2 seconds before slowly shifting away. "Money is a tool, not an end in itself." "What?" Song Yunfei didn't understand again. "Do cultured people like to use cryptic language?" Before Chu Jinan could ask anything more, he ended the conversation, saying, "Let's go, it'll get dark if we don't leave soon." Song Yunfei pouted and quickly followed. It took almost 6 hours to drive home, and by the time I got back, it was already dark. Traveling by car is really tiring. I just want to sleep as soon as I get home. I don't want to eat tonight, I'm so sleepy. I'm going to take a shower and go to bed. Don't call me when you are eating. Song Yunfei waved her hand and walked weakly toward the restroom. Chu Jinan sat down on the sofa, took out his phone, and before he could unlock it, the phone rang. It was Mr. He calling again. He hesitated for a moment, then slid down to answer the phone. "Mr. He. Mr. He said with a smile, "Where are you? Come out quickly, a big client has arrived and insists on seeing you." "What's the customer's name?" "He said his surname is Wei. Anyway, hurry up and come over. I'll send the address to your phone. Hurry up, don't keep the customer waiting too long." "Good." Chu Jinan hung up the phone and glanced in the direction of the bathroom. Song Yunfei had just gone inside and wouldn't be coming out for a while, so he stood up, left her a message on his phone, and went straight out the door. By the time Song Yunfei saw the message, half an hour had passed. "Going out so late," she muttered. It seemed that Mr. He really thought he was a donkey. Chapter 135 Give Me a Million. In a private room of a coffee shop, Mr. He greeted the young man in front of him with a smile. The man looked to be about 27 or 28 years old and was wearing a neat suit. He has striking features, with sharp eyebrows and bright eyes, exuding righteousness and possessing an extraordinary air. But this person wouldn't talk to him about orders. Instead, he kept asking about Chu Jinan. But I must say, his serious and methodical manner does resemble Seo Chu quite a bit. This Seo Chu doesn't usually like to chat, and he rarely talks to us about his own affairs, so I don't know much about the specifics. As Mr. He was speaking, he saw the person who pushed the door open and his expression brightened. This person is here, Mr. Wei, why don't you talk to him? Upon hearing this, Wei Ke immediately turned around to look. His calm face instantly changed expression, and he stood up excitedly. Seeing the indifference in the other person's eyes, as if they didn't recognize him, he swallowed the words he was about to say. Wei Ke turned to General Manager He and said, "Thank you for your hard work, General Manager He. Let me have a chat with your supervisor first." Mr. He was stunned for a moment, and then felt a little unhappy. After all, he was the boss. What business couldn't be discussed in front of him? But he only thought it to himself, and still smiled and said, "Okay, you two chat, I'll go first, I have something to take care of." Mr. He stood up, walked up to Chu Jinan, and whispered, "You'd better treat him well, he's a really important client." Chu Jinan ignored him, his gaze fixed on the man's face. Seeing that he ignored him, Mr. He had no choice but to leave the private room, feeling extremely unhappy. After Mr. He left, the two stood there, looking at each other. Wei Ke's initial excitement gradually turned into complicated feelings. For a long time, no one spoke. Wei Ke broke the silence first. "President Chu, don't you recognize me?" Chu Jinan also looked away, walked to the opposite seat and sat down, rubbing his temples. He said, as if talking to himself, "I have a vague impression, but I don't remember." Wei Ke slumped back onto the sofa, her face filled with disappointment, worry, and heartache. "No wonder you've been missing for so long, you must have amnesia. You have no idea how hard it has been for me to find you. All the clues have been erased. It seems like everyone is looking for you, but now I can't tell who is really looking for you." Thankfully, now, Wei Ke spoke vividly and sincerely, almost to the point of pounding his chest in frustration. However, when he looked up, he saw that the man opposite him was expressionless, as if he were listening to a story, and even had a scrutinizing look on his face. The emotions that had been building up for so long felt like punching cotton, no, like punching a steel plate. "President Chu, don't you believe me?" "Chu Jinan, why should I believe you? I can vouch for it, I know a lot about you, a lot." Chu Jinan interrupted him, "You just said that many people are looking for me, so many people should know about my situation. I can tentatively believe my identity, but I will not trust anyone, including you, until I regain my memories." Wei Ke's face paled. He never expected that his arduous search would end like this. He doesn't even believe in himself. Then what will it take for you to believe me? Chu Jinan pondered for a moment, then slowly said, "Since you keep saying you're my most capable assistant, then I must be very rich. Give me $1 million first." Quote. Wei Ke was completely stunned. He had imagined countless scenarios of reuniting with President Chu, of them excitedly recognizing each other and bursting into tears, although this was unlikely. He had considered that President Chu might suspect him, test him, or probe him, but he never expected that President Chu would actually ask him for money. Wei Ke suddenly felt a little wronged. He had gone through so much trouble to find him and poured his heart out to him. If he didn't believe him, fine, but he still asked him for money. What's wrong? Is $1 million a lot? Wei Ke sighed, "Not much, President Chu. What do you need $1 million for? Buy a house." Buy what? Wei Ke's mind was full of questions, and he began to wonder if President Chu had lost his mind due to amnesia. "Chu Jinan, If you can't afford to buy a house, then forget it. His patience ran out, and after saying this, he stood up to leave. Wei Ke hurriedly said, President Chu, I'll give it to you. I'll give you $1 million, but could you come back with me first? Chu Jinan glanced at him, but didn't answer his question. Instead, he took out his phone, opened the QR code for receiving payments, and gestured for him to transfer the money. Wei Ke looked at his payment QR code and took a deep breath. After comforting himself for a long time, he realized that President Chu hadn't had a good time in the past 6 months and that his amnesia had left him with some after effects. You can't blame him. Wei Ke composed himself, looked up again, his expression somewhat bitter. President Chu, I can give it to you, but can you promise me that after you regain your memories, you won't cause me any trouble because of this? Wei Ke knows him best, because a normal President Chu wouldn't do something so stupid. Afterwards, when he recalls the stupid thing he did, he will definitely hold him accountable. He could even imagine that when he tried to defend himself, President Chu would say, if I tell you to give it, you give it, if I tell you to die, you go or not. Wei Ke felt a little relieved. Okay, President Chu, I'll add you. I'll transfer it to you in a bit. The two became friends again, and Chu Jinan left the coffee shop without lingering any longer. Wei Ke looked at the man's retreating figure with a melancholy expression. When I saw him ride onto a pink electric scooter, my eyes widened like saucers, and I felt like the sky had fallen. Could it be that President Chu awakened some strange attribute after losing his memory? When Chu Jinan returned, Song Yunfei had just finished a phone call with her family. Song Dashan has been discharged from the hospital and is now able to rest at home, undergoing dialysis weekly and taking medication to stabilize her condition. Once a suitable kidney donor becomes available, the surgery can be performed. Hearing a noise outside, Song Yunfei said goodbye to her mother. Okay, Mom, it's so cold outside, you should go inside and get some rest. I hung up the phone and walked out of the bedroom. I saw Chu Jinan take off his coat and hang it on the coat rack by the door, holding a takeout box in his hand. Song Yunfei laughed. I was just saying I was going out to eat, but I didn't expect you to have already bought it. How did you know I wasn't asleep? Chu Jinan placed the items on the dining table, saying, it's not the first time. Song Yunfei thought about it and realized that made sense. Every time I say I'm so sleepy, I immediately feel wide awake after taking a shower and lying down on the bed. She quickly sat down at the table, opened the packaging bag, and took out the lunchbox. Chu Jinan also washed his hands and came back to sit down. He suddenly asked, do you like this house? Song Yunfei didn't even look up, focusing only on opening the takeout box. I like it, so what? Then give me the homeowner's phone number. Song Yunfei paused. What are you going to do? Chu Jinan, buying it will save us the trouble of moving it. Song Yunfei's heart skipped a beat. You struck it rich. I just met with a big client. Why would you buy it? He's only been living here for less than 2 months, and now he suddenly wants to buy it. I'd rather give him the money. Chu Jinan gazed at her, his expression somewhat subtle. Convenient. Looking into his eyes, a sudden heat rose up my cheeks. He definitely wasn't talking about the convenience of going to work. Because this guy wanted to try everything, but she always said that this wouldn't work and that wouldn't work. I don't know what he's been reading, but his thoughts are getting wilder and wilder. She swore she had deleted all her saved items long ago. She remained silent for a long time, and Chu Jinan frowned. What's wrong? You don't want to? Judging from the man's familiar demeanor, if she dared to say no, she would immediately be met with a long lecture. Song Yunfei's lips twitched, and she could only admit defeat, saying with a fake smile, of course I'm willing. I'm just so happy that we can finally have our own house. Chapter 136. Did he really buy it? In the end, Song Yunfei had no choice but to give him the homeowner's phone number. The homeowner didn't want to sell the house and hoped the other party could be more resolute and not be swayed by money. Chu Jinan saved the homeowner's phone number and wanted to say something, but seeing her engrossed in eating, he remained silent. The next morning, Song Yunfei rode to work on the back of an electric scooter. The reason she rode an electric scooter was naturally because of the morning traffic jams, and the electric scooter was more convenient. It's such a short distance, she could have walked it herself while there was traffic. As the electric scooter drove out of the residential area, Chu Jinan paused, then turned to look at the large tree not far away. Song Yunfei also looked over, and this time even she saw a head retract into its shell. No, it seems there's more than one. Chu Jinan looked away and watched the car drive away, ignoring it. Song Yunfei asked suspiciously, "How many people did you see just now?" "I don't know." Song Yunfei was somewhat worried. "Could they be here to spy on us?" Chu Jinan said, "What do we have to monitor? Don't overthink it." "All right." She only caught a quick glance, and the person looked a bit like Xiao Jian. Only Xiao Jian would wear such a strange outfit. If it's Xiao Jian, she doesn't have much to worry about. The other one is probably Bai Yu. The two of them have the same goal. Although the tree was large, it couldn't block 3 people, so it's not surprising that Song Yunfei discovered it. Yes, there are 3 people behind the tree. In addition to Xiao Jian and Bai Yu, there is now Wei Ke. The 3 of them looked at each other in silence. Xiao Jian couldn't help but speak first. "Didn't you come to find him? Why are you hiding here?" Bai Yu also looked at Wei Ke, equally curious about the question. Shouldn't the 2 of them have gone back immediately after finding Chu Jinan? Wei Ke sighed, looking melancholy. Just as he was about to speak, his gaze shifted to Bai Yu. "Who are you?" Bai Yu smiled slightly. "I am his attending physician, you can call me Bai Yu." Xiao Jian, standing next to him, rolled his eyes. He's using this identity to fool people again. Wei Ke suddenly realized, "Oh, it's Drive. Bai, what's the situation with President Chu now?" Bai Yu asked. "You've met him?" Wei Ke nodded and briefly recounted the meeting between the two to Bai Yu. After hearing this, Bai Yu's lips twitched, and he and Xiao Jian exchanged a glance, both seeing speechlessness in each other's eyes. They discussed for 2 days and 2 nights how to prevent the two from meeting. In the end, they didn't come up with a proper idea, but they came up with a bunch of unorthodox ones. As it turned out, Chu Jinan didn't believe Wei Ke at all, and now he's become one of them. Xiao Jian said irritably, "You've wasted my feelings." Bai Yu stroked his chin and slowly said, "Is it possible that he has actually remembered?" Wei Ke looked at him, puzzled. "Why do you say that?" "Bai Yu, don't you think he accepted it a little too quickly? He even asked you for $1 million. Is that something a normal person would do when they meet a stranger?" Xiao Jian, is he a normal person? Wei Ke pondered for a moment, and after careful consideration, realized that it made some sense. But he quickly shook his head, "Probably not. I know him. If he really regained his memories, there would be no need to hide it from me as well." Bai Yu smiled and said, "That makes sense. You can continue. I need to go to work now." After saying that, he turned and left. Wei Ke and Xiao Jian were left looking at each other in bewilderment. Wei Ke sensed something was wrong. He stared at Bai Yu's receding figure and suddenly looked at Xiao Jian. "I have a feeling he's testing me. Are you two really here to see President Chu?" Xiao Jian was stunned. She hadn't realized it until Wei Ke said something. So this kid was testing her earlier. She raised her chin, straightened her back, and looked completely self-righteous. "Otherwise what? You don't believe him, but do you think you don't believe me either?" Wei Ke looked at her suspiciously, not believing her, but still said, "Of course I trust Miss Xiao." Xiao Jian snorted and turned to leave. Wei Ke started to worry again. How could he convince President Chu to come back to Sea City with him? For the next few days, he kept an eye on Chu Jinan. He saw that Chu Jinan went to and from work every day, worked overtime at night, and even had to move goods. If he got off work early, he would go to the market to buy vegetables. I go for walks with that woman every night, a very regular routine, going back and forth between home and work. Seeing President Chu dating Song Yunfei gave him the feeling that a rich girl had been kidnapped by a blonde guy. He finally understood that feeling. Wei Ke suspected that the woman might have cast a spell on him. Chu Jinan hasn't been idle these past few days either. He's been calling that homeowner every day. Finally, after his relentless harassment, the homeowner agreed to sell the house a week later. It happened to be Sunday, and the homeowner had some free time and came back for a visit. When Song Yunfei saw Chu Jinan come in with the homeowner, she was stunned. No, he really bought it. The homeowner was a middle-aged woman in her 40s, dressed very smartly. After she came in, she looked around the house, sighed, and said, "I spent a long time choosing this house, and I put a lot of thought into the renovation. You guys really got a good deal." Song Yunfei poured her a glass of water. "Miss Chen, you've put so much effort into this, how could you bear to sell it?" Miss Chen said, "Isn't he your boyfriend? He calls me every day." At this point, she sighed again, "But it's good that it's sold. My job won't change anytime soon, and I won't be able to come back for at least 5 years. Song Yunfei twitched the corners of her mouth. After hearing the first half of the sentence, she wanted to take the opportunity to persuade Miss Chen to reconsider. Upon hearing the second half of the sentence, her heart sank. Miss Chen approached Chu Jinan and took out a file folder from her bag. "As we agreed before, I brought the contract. Take a look. If there are no problems, we can sign it today. As for the transfer of ownership, today is the weekend. Did you make an appointment in advance?" "I've made an appointment." Chu Jinan picked up the contract and began to look through it carefully. Song Yunfei could only watch from the sidelines and listen to the two chat. He actually spent 900,000 yuan to buy this house. This is a 2-bedroom, 1 living room apartment, about 80 square meters, costing at most 600,000 yuan. Even if the renovation costs 200,000 yuan, it would only cost 800,000 yuan. Moreover, the price of second-hand houses should be even lower. Unexpectedly, the spendthrift man added over 100,000 yuan to the original price. No wonder the seller sold it. Song Yunfei took out her phone and secretly sent him a message. "Tell him not to buy it, it's too much of a loss." How many houses would she have to sell to earn back the tens of thousands? Chu Jinan took out his phone, read the message, and put it back in his pocket. Song Yunfei gritted his teeth. Was he born in the year of the donkey? The two quickly signed the contract and got up to prepare for the property transfer. Chu Jinan looked at Song Yunfei and said, "Take your ID with you." Song Yunfei was feeling down. "What am I supposed to do there? The property will be transferred to your name." Chapter 137. Did he also have a premonition of something? Song Yunfei was taken aback. "Transferred to my name?" Chu Jinan nodded slightly. "Yes." Song Yunfei looked at him suspiciously. Did this guy buy it with a loan? He might end up with a mountain of debt, which wouldn't do. As if reading her mind, Chu Jinan said, "Don't worry, it was bought in full." Miss Chen nodded. "That's right, I can vouch for it." Song Yunfei was at a loss for words. Chu Jinan came to her side, took her hand, and said, "Let's go. If you want to live somewhere else in the future, you can sell it then." Song Yunfei let him lead her, mechanically following behind him. She always thought that buying a house was a very distant dream for the two of them with their combined salaries. Unexpectedly, he bought the house in the blink of an eye. If the topic of marriage were brought up again, she seemed to have no reason to use it. After luring people here, they also swindled them out of a house. She's really something. But she couldn't refuse. Knowing Chu Jinan as she did, she knew he would definitely get angry if she refused him. She was in a daze the whole way and didn't know how to complete the procedures. The sun was shining brightly today, and it felt warm on my skin, but Song Yunfei didn't feel much warmth. As they walked out of the service hall, Miss Chen suddenly said, "Ems. Song, your boyfriend is really nice." Song Yunfei forced a smile. Miss Chen glanced back at the man who was still organizing documents and continued, "He told me on the phone that you two are getting married and congratulated you in advance." "Thank you." Song Yunfei's smile became even more forced. Miss Chen was a little puzzled, but she didn't ask any more questions. After saying a few words, she left. Not long after, Chu Jinan also came out. "All right, let's go home." Song Yunfei looked at him with a complicated expression. "Why?" Chu Jinan took her hand and whispered, "I want to give it to you." "But you. With the house in your name, you'll feel more at ease, and I'll feel at ease too. No matter what happens in the future, it's a kind of security." Song Yunfei felt heavy-hearted, and a pang of sadness welled up inside her. Did he also have a premonition of something? He had mentioned before that he remembered a little bit, and now the time has passed, has he remembered even more? Even he himself couldn't guarantee what would happen in the future. She couldn't tell whether Chu Jinan was acting on a previous promise or preparing for the worst. What bothered her most, more than these unpredictable things, was that Chu Jinan's words gave her the feeling that once he regained his memories, the current him would disappear. Even so, there was nothing she could do, and nothing he could do either. We can only be swept along by fate, moving forward in unpredictable directions. The two sat in the car, and the atmosphere suddenly became very silent. When they arrived at the entrance of the residential area, Chu Jinan stopped the car, turned to look at her, and said, "Yunfei." Song Yunfei looked up. "What's wrong?" He gazed at her intently for a long while before finally speaking, "Let's go get our marriage certificate." Song Yunfei froze, her fingers instinctively tightening around the seatbelt. "No, no. We're closed today, next week." Song Yunfei pursed her lips and lowered her head, unsure how to answer. The car fell silent again, the air seemed thin, and it was difficult to breathe. Chu Jinan stared at her for a long time, a hint of sadness flashing in his eyes. He looked away, restarted the car, and drove into the residential area. "I'm sorry, we agreed to wait until after the new year. I shouldn't have been in such a hurry. Don't think too much about it. I was just saying it casually." Song Yunfei gripped the seatbelt, her mind in turmoil. She could agree, but everything is uncertain right now. He has amnesia now, so it would be unfair to Chu Jinan if they went ahead and got the marriage certificate. Secondly, if Chu Jinan regains her memory and denies the relationship, it will cause her even deeper harm. Putting someone in a shackle prematurely because of unrealistic expectations is harmful to both of them. As if it were just a minor incident, he didn't mention it again. They went to get off work and came home as usual, occasionally ate together, and went out to walk the dog together. Wei Kei waited for more than 10 days, but he couldn't wait any longer. The message sent to President Chu went unanswered, and he couldn't be found anywhere. President Chu refused to see him at all. That very evening, Chu Jinan had to work overtime again. Wei Kei waited outside for several hours, until after 2 a.m., when he finally saw a familiar figure come out of the factory. Wei Kei hurriedly got out of the car and ran towards Chu Jinan, stopping him before he could get back into the car. "President Chu." Chu Jinan looked at the man in front of him, his brows furrowing slightly. "Are you ever going to stop?" Wei Kei said helplessly, "President Chu, there are less than 2 months left until the shareholders' meeting. You have to come back with me." This time he was smarter and didn't dare mention Song Yunfei. The previous time Song Yunfei's name had been mentioned, President Chu hadn't even given him a chance to speak. This time, Chu Jinan finally didn't turn around and leave. He looked at Wei Kei quietly, his expression calm compared to Wei Kei's anxiety. Given my current situation, what good would it do to attend that shareholders meeting you mentioned? This, Wei Ke frowned as well. This was indeed a thorny issue. He doesn't remember anything now, and it seems his chances of winning are slim even if he goes back. Chu Jinan decided not to waste any more time and turned to get into the car. Just then, a blinding beam of light shot out, and both of them simultaneously raised their hands to block it. Chu Jinan caught a glimpse out of the corner of his eye that a car was rushing straight toward where the two of them were. Chu Jinan's pupils contracted sharply as the blast of air rushed towards him, carrying the smell of burning and bringing with it countless shattered images. In a certain part of his mind, it was as if the intense light had ignited and exploded, stretching out time and making each frame extremely slow. The overwhelming images flooded over him like a torrent. President Chu. Wei Ke was horrified to see him standing frozen in place. Without thinking, he suddenly lunged at Chu Jinan. The two of them collapsed together next to the green belt under the outer wall of the park. At the same time, a loud bang exploded in the middle of the night. The car crashed into the spot where the two people had just been standing, knocking the streetlights askew. The front of the car was dented, the hood was raised, and white smoke mixed with the smell of burning was hissing out. Ignoring the car, Wei Ke propped himself up and helped Chu Jinan beside him. President Chu, are you alright? Chu Jinan's face was pale, his chest heaved violently, his knuckles turned white as he braced himself on the ground, and cold sweat poured from his forehead. President Chu. Chu Jinan was panting heavily. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw people getting out of the car. He tried to get up, but fell back down helplessly. Liu, Mao, Kai. It was as if those three words were being squeezed out through clenched teeth, but they were instantly overwhelmed by the images flashing through my mind, and I painfully closed my eyes. Upon hearing this, Wei Ke also turned to look. Sure enough, a fat man got out of the car, carrying a fruit knife, and with a venomous look in his eyes, slowly approached the two of them. Chapter 138 What a wonderful song, Yanfei. A few days ago, Liu Moke finally realized that she had been tricked by Wu Wei. When you are losing money, you can't find anyone, but when the money runs out and the price starts to rise, they suddenly reappear. To this end, he embezzled a large sum of public funds and poured it into it. Just then, Feng Tianhao was checking the accounts and found out about this incident. It was a small matter that he was scolded. What he really suffered was that Feng Tianhao broke off relations with him. He's heavily in debt now, and if he can't make a living in Qingcheng in the future, he'll have to fill that hole, otherwise Feng Tianhao will sue him. Liu Moke has been lawless for years, and he couldn't stand this insult. He caught Wu Wei and found chat logs between Wu Wei and Chu Jinan on Wu Wei's phone. Liu Moke finally realized that the person who had truly set him up was Chu Jinan. The murderous intent toward Chu Jinan has been growing stronger these past few days. The moment he saw Chu Jinan, anger overwhelmed his reason, and without thinking, he drove his car into her. The desire to kill this kid reached its peak at this moment. Tonight, he's going to kill someone. Wei Ke noticed it too, and immediately stood up, blocking Chu Jinan's path. Who are you? Now that you've seen it, you might as well die too. Relying on the knife in his hand, Liu Moke charged towards Wei Ke with his two elephant legs. Chu Jinan was so frightened that he collapsed to the ground, unable to get up. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He just hadn't expected that he'd overlooked Chu Jinan. This man was quite capable. Before the knife even touched him, Wei Ke dodged it, grabbed Liu Moke's wrist, and kicked him to the ground. Liu Moke used to be quite agile when she was thinner, but now that she is so fat, even with experience, she is not as nimble as before. To prevent him from striking again, Wei Ke punched and kicked Liu Moke until he couldn't get up. Liu Moke lay on the ground, his face bruised and swollen, panting heavily, the fat on his face trembling. He glared at Wei Kei, then looked past him and stared venomously at Chu Jinan, who had just sat up and was pale-faced. He tried to get up, but fell back down every time he tried. He gritted his teeth, blood still smeared in his mouth, his voice filled with chilling hatred. You motherfucker, you tricked me, Chu Jinan, I'll kill you, or I'm not a Liu. Wei Kei watched him warily, and only after confirming that he couldn't get up did he take out his phone to call the police. As for Chu Jinan, he sat on the steps of the green belt, head down, motionless, as if he hadn't heard Liu Mokei's threat. A dozen minutes later, the police arrived, and Wei Kei handled the situation. Chu Jinan remained seated, motionless. Seeing his appearance, the police officer asked with some confusion, "Is that person all right?" Wei Kei said, "He's fine. He was just startled. He'll be all right in a bit." The police officer said nothing more, glanced at Liu Mokei again, and got into the police car with his murder weapon. "Then you should take your friend to the hospital first. We might have some questions for you later." Wei Kei nodded, "Okay." Another half hour passed after the police car left. Wei Kei nervously returned to his side, called out twice but received no response, so she could only carefully sit down next to him, waiting expectantly and excitedly. Dad! When Song Yunfei woke up, she found that the person next to her was empty. She turned on the light, picked up her phone and glanced at it. It was almost 4 in the morning. Chu Jinan told her a couple of days ago that he would be working overtime these days, but she didn't expect him to be working so late today. Will I have to work overtime until dawn again like last time? She thought for a moment and sent a few messages to Chu Jinan. After waiting for about 10 minutes, there was still no response. Song Yunfei couldn't sleep, so she stood up and went outside to sit on the sofa. Half an hour later, she called Chu Jinan again. The phone rang for a long time without being answered, and she couldn't help but frown, feeling worried. Just as the call was about to end, it was finally connected. "Chu Jinan, how late are you going to work today?" After he finished speaking, there was a 2-second silence on the phone before an unfamiliar male voice came through. "Chu, he's busy, call back later." "Oh, are you his colleague?" "Yes." Before Song Yunfei could speak again, the call was disconnected. The man's tone was rather unfriendly, so it seems that people in his factory still have a lot of opinions about him. Song Yunfei leaned back on the sofa, listlessly playing with her phone. "I opened Baiyi's WeChat to receive a red envelope. This person is sending red envelopes less often now. Before, he would send more than 10 a day, but now he only sends 2 or 3. People really do change." On the other end, Wei Kei carefully slipped his phone into Chu Jinan's pocket. "Oh!" Suddenly, he seemed to hear a faint laugh. Wei Kei watched him nervously, but he remained motionless. His disheveled hair fell down, obscuring half of his face, making it impossible to see his expression. For a moment, Wei Kei thought he was hallucinating. The night wind swept across the empty sidewalk, swirling up fallen leaves and dust, making a soft rustling sound. A few sharp hisses came from a wild cat in the distance, making the place seem even more desolate. "President Chu." Wei Kei held his breath and called out cautiously. Chu Jinan's shoulder moved. Under Wei Kei's gaze, he slowly raised his head. The dim streetlights shone on his face, revealing his entire face. They vanished without a trace, replaced by an unfathomable abyss. A pair of eyes completely different from the ones before. Under the streetlights, countless emotions flashed in his eyes: astonishment, disbelief, absurdity, self-mockery, and an impending outburst of anger. A variety of emotions played out in turn, making his expression quite interesting, and also carrying an invisible sense of pressure. Wei Kei watched in horror. Was he regaining his memories? "President Chu, are you all right?" Chu Jinan closed his eyes, the dim streetlights illuminating his face, making his features appear colder and sharper than usual. "What a wonderful Song Yunfei!" The voice wasn't loud, sounding like a sigh or a gritted teeth, yet it carried a weight that couldn't be ignored. Chapter 139 So tragic. VK didn't dare to breathe loudly, and even had a sliver of hope that he wouldn't regain his memories. This is terrifying. I've never seen anything like it in all these years. President Chu is usually very reserved and rarely shows his emotions. Even when he's angry, you have to guess what he's thinking. It's rare to see him with such a colorful expression. Chu Jinan slowly opened his eyes. His eyes had calmed down and were no longer filled with extraneous emotions. But in Wei Kei's eyes, it was more like the desolation after a storm and the mess that had been painted over. He stood up, his clothes stained, and there was a cut on his forehead from a branch. But his aura had already changed. He walked straight to the car parked by the roadside. It was Wei Kei's car. Wei Kei realized what was happening, quickly got up, and ran over to open the door for him. After getting into the car, Wei Kei sat in the front driver's seat and peeked at the rearview mirror. Unfortunately, it was too dark inside the car, and he could only see the man's chest illuminated by the street lights. His entire face was hidden in the dim light, and he couldn't see his expression. Wei Kei's Adam's apple bobbed as he tried to speak several times, but then hesitated, fearing he might be walking into a trap. While he was still struggling with his thoughts, a deep, magnetic male voice sounded from behind him. From the time I disappeared until now, what has happened? Tell me everything. Wei Kei relaxed slightly and began to recount the events in detail. 6 months ago, you went abroad on a business trip. I went to pick you up, but I waited all day and you never showed up. Wei Kei checked the flight route, and it turned out that the flight was delayed again. But later I couldn't get through to him by phone, and he didn't reply to my messages. He then told the chairman, who was Chu Jinan's father, about it. The chairman then sent many people to search, but strangely, they found no clues. Even more strangely, he wasn't photographed at the airport. So everyone wondered if he was still abroad and hadn't returned, or if something bad had happened to him abroad. Chu Jinan said, of course I didn't get a picture, because I came back the day before. Why didn't you call me? Wei Kei wasn't surprised, because he had already found out. It took a lot of effort to find it from someone else's dashcam, because all the surveillance cameras on the road were gone. There was a long silence afterwards. Wei Kei thought he wasn't going to explain, so he prepared to continue. The next second, the man said in an unfriendly tone, I was hit by the car while I was calling you. Quote. After getting off the plane, he received a phone call and was walking along the road outside the airport. He hung up the phone and was looking through Wei Kei's phone when he was hit by the car. Wei Kei continued talking to him about company matters. He was initially keeping his disappearance a secret, fearing it would affect the stock market. But it couldn't be kept secret. It was leaked and various news reports surfaced. However, the situation was quickly brought under control, and the stock market only experienced a slight fluctuation, so the problem was not serious. After that, everyone did their best to find clues about him. But after searching for half a year, they still couldn't find any clues. Every time Wei Kei was about to find a clue, it would immediately go cold again. Besides this incident, his younger brother Chu Shuye suddenly became very motivated. This kid used to never go to the company, let alone go to work. Besides racing cars with a group of people, going to bars, and doing all sorts of extreme sports. Just like his name suggests, he's a wild child. Asking him to go to work is like taking his life. But after Chu Jinan disappeared, he suddenly became serious. He was not familiar with the business at first, but gradually he achieved considerable success, and even the chairman praised him for his potential. Another, and most importantly, the chairman is about to retire, and many people are eyeing this position. This position isn't particularly important to the Chu Jinan brothers, but they can't let it fall into the hands of outsiders, since it's a very powerful position with a lot of room for manipulation. After everything was explained, the sky was already tinged with red, and the sun was about to rise. Many people are walking on the street, and it is no longer deserted. Oh, by the way, President Chu, there's something else I wanted to tell you, but please don't be angry. Explain. Wei Ke hesitated for a moment, then said cautiously, Chu Shuye seems to be getting very close to Miss Shen. He phrased it rather tactfully, but the two were already quite close. He personally witnessed them kissing in the car. Wei Ke peeked into the rearview mirror, trying to make out the man's face. In the dim light of day, he could see clearly. President Chu seemed to be lost in thought. President Chu. That's normal, all women are liars. Chu Jinin's voice was emotionless, but if you listened carefully, you could still hear a hint of anger. Wei Ke sighed inwardly. Well, it seems President Chu has suffered quite a blow. His fiancée was gone, and now he's being manipulated by another woman. That's terrible. However, judging from his tone, he seemed to harbor more resentment towards his fiancée than towards her. Where are you going now? Buy tickets, back to Sea City. Now. Chu Jinin glanced at the rearview mirror and met Wei Ke's gaze. Would you like to have breakfast before you leave? No, I'll buy it right away. Chu Jinin stopped talking, picked up his phone, and made a call. Song Yunfei woke up to find herself asleep on the sofa. She rubbed her eyes and looked around. A chilling atmosphere swept over them. The room was empty, with no sign of Chu Jinin's return. Did he not come back last night? I quickly picked up my phone and glanced at it, but didn't send her a message. This manager must be exhausted, working overtime all night long. She sent a message to Chu Jinin, but still received no reply. I could only sigh, go to the bathroom to wash up, and go to the kitchen to make breakfast. She made an extra portion, thinking he might eat it when he got home from get-off work. After breakfast, I went downstairs and didn't see the pink electric scooter, but the Volkswagen was still parked in the same spot. He did not return. Since it wasn't far from her workplace, Song Yunfei walked there by herself. However, she was absent-minded at work, frequently picking up her phone to check it. But she didn't see a reply from Chu Jinin. Even when her phone rang and it was an advertisement, she had the urge to delete the caller. As noon approached, she couldn't resist making a phone call. I didn't answer. Chu Jinin had already arrived in Sea City. After glancing at the caller ID, he immediately pressed the power button. Wei Ke had already made a phone call in advance, and a Rolls-Royce slowly drove up and stopped in front of the two of them. Wei Ke opened the car door, and seeing that he didn't get in, she looked back at him again. I saw him turning on the computer. Wei Ke twitched the corner of his mouth. Why does he keep turning the phone off and on? On this stretch of road, Wei Ke saw him turn off his phone at least 3 times. President Chu. Chu Jinin snapped out of his daze, put away his phone, and got into the car. As Song Yunfei rested her chin on her hand, hesitating whether to go to the factory, a familiar profile picture popped up in the front row. She grabbed her phone and opened the chat window. Chapter 140. Her behavior was extremely egregious. It was sent by Chu Jinin, and it only had 2 words, business trip. Song Yunfei frowned. Was he also away on a business trip? Having learned from her own past mistakes, Song Yunfei was somewhat skeptical when she saw those 2 words. The reason she went back to her hometown last time was also a business trip. Song Yunfei typed, "Where did you go on your business trip?" Then she stopped replying. After waiting until the afternoon without receiving any news, Song Yunfei, unable to wait until the end of her shift, went directly to the factory. The receptionist saw her and immediately became extremely wary. Song, Manager Chu is not in the company. The receptionist maintained a stiff smile, wondering if it was about to start again. Song Yunfei couldn't care less about anything else and asked, "Then where did he go?" "I don't know about that." "Where is Mr. He? Mr. He isn't here either." This was a lie. The receptionist wouldn't dare let her in to look for Mr. He. "All right." Song Yunfei didn't make things difficult for her and turned to leave. The receptionist breathed a sigh of relief. She was all prepared to stop her, but to her surprise, she didn't force her way in. Song Yunfei didn't have Mr. He's phone number, so she could only wait downstairs. She was worried that something might have happened to Chu Jinan. How can someone be working overtime one second and then suddenly go on a business trip the next? Meanwhile, Chu Jinan returned to his villa, took a shower, and changed his clothes. He is currently in the hospital. After reviewing his medical report, the doctor stood up, approached the man, and carefully asked, "Mr. Chu, are you experiencing any discomfort?" Chu Jinan leaned back on the sofa, listened to the doctor's words, and pondered for a moment. "Not for now." "Why?" "Based on the examination, some of your damaged nerve tissue has not yet fully repaired. Your stress-induced recovery is too sudden, as if it bypasses the normal functional pathways of the damaged area. Get to the point." The doctor said awkwardly, "I just suggest you avoid overworking your brain and keep your emotions stable, otherwise you may experience headaches, memory confusion, and other after-effects." Chu Jinan fell into deep thought. After a moment, he slightly raised his hand. The doctor understood his meaning, nodded, and left. Wei Kei hesitated for a moment, then said, "President Chu, shouldn't you rest for a couple of days before going back?" Chu Jinan glanced at him. "Do you know who did it?" Wei Kei frowned. He naturally understood what President Chu meant, erasing the clues. The fact that this person can delete airport surveillance footage shows they are definitely not an ordinary person. "Do you think it's possible that it could be Chu Shui?" "Chu Jinan, it's not him, he doesn't have that much ability." "Then it can only be those few in the shareholders' meeting." As Yanjin Group has grown to its current state, the power dynamics within it have become incredibly complex, with each shareholder possessing significant backing and influence. Everyone wants to control Yanjin. If the chairmanship falls into the hands of other shareholders, even the largest shareholder, they could very well be sidelined. Wei Kei analyzed for a long time, but in the blink of an eye, he saw that Wei Kei had lost focus again. "President Chu. President Chu." Chu Jinan looked up at him. Wei Kei tentatively asked, "Now that you're back, what about Song, that guy? What should we do?" Chu Jinan countered with, "What do you think should be done?" "I think her behavior was too egregious, and she shouldn't be allowed to go to jail." Cough. Noticing the man's cold gaze, Wei Kei changed the subject. "I think we should investigate first, maybe someone is behind her. No one understands reading people better than him." Chu Jinan raised an eyebrow imperceptibly, his voice revealing little emotion. "It's time to investigate thoroughly, especially her relationship with that Baiyu. Should we also investigate that doctor? I don't think the person behind him has much to do with him." After saying that, he noticed that President Chu's eyes had become subtle. "Really? It seems you know him very well." "I'll check right away." While the two were talking, Chu Jinan's phone kept ringing. Wei Kei glanced at it, but didn't dare to say anything, and turned to walk out. After taking only a couple of steps, he heard a voice behind him again, "Come back." Wei Kei turned back again. "President Chu, is there anything else you need?" "Chu Jinan, don't reveal anything about King Cheng." Wei Kei paused for a moment, then nodded knowingly, "Okay." As darkness fell, the last rays of the setting sun disappeared below the horizon. The factory workers had already left for the day, and a dense crowd of people came down the stairs. Song Yunfei had been waiting there for over an hour. Her legs were numb from squatting, so she got up and paced back and forth. After the evening rush hour, there were only a few people left at the stairwell. If she waited 5 more minutes and Mr. He didn't come down, she was ready to go back. The thought had barely formed in his mind when Song Yun-fei spotted President He coming down another staircase. Mister. He spat in his palm, rubbed it, raised his hand to run his hand through his thinning hair, pulled up his pants, and then took out his car keys and walked to his car. As soon as he placed his hand on the car door handle, Mr. He felt a chill run down his spine, as if he were being watched by a ghost. Mr. His hand trembled. He flashed a bright smile and turned to Song Yun-fei. Little Song, are you here to see Xiao Chu? Song Yun-fei nodded. Where is he? Didn't he go on a business trip? He didn't tell you. Song Yun-fei observed Mr. He's expression. He didn't seem to be lying. Mr. He thought she didn't believe him, so he added, didn't a big client come a few days ago? Xiao Chu was with him the whole time. This time she said she was going to visit the other company, and she left early this morning. Mr. His face was beaming with joy, his eyes filled with nothing but greed for money, and there was not a trace of him lying. Because he wasn't lying, that's exactly what Chu Jinan told him. Song Yun-fei believed what Mr. He said. Oh, how many days will he be gone? Mr. He stroked his chin thoughtfully and said, I don't know, but I guess it won't be long before we know it. Song Yun-fei pressed on, where are you on your business trip? Where was it again, Mr. He thought for a long time. Oh right, I remember now, it's Yincheng. Song Yun-fei silently read the place name and nodded. Okay, thank you, Mr. He. It's nothing. How are things going between you and Xiao Chu lately? Song Yun-fei asked, puzzled. It's fine, Mr. He. Why do you ask that? Just asking, Mr. He said with a smile, then changed the subject. Little Song, can you tell me secretly, has Xiao Chu lost his memory? Upon hearing this, Song Yun-fei's heart skipped a beat. She gets extremely nervous whenever she hears the word amnesia. Why do you ask that? Mr. He said, I just had a feeling about it, he had mentioned it to me before. He told you he has amnesia. Not really, they just asked some strange questions. After considering it for a moment, Mr. He looked Song Yun-fei over again and asked, has he been in a car accident?